We just saw The Signal, and the way this show works is we review the movie in two parts. The first part is spoiler-free. We kind of talk about whether we recommend the movie or not, whether we liked it or not, to give you an opinion to decide if you want to go see it. And then after that, we dive into details and spoilers and that kind of stuff. So that's the point to cut out if you're wanting to see the movie still. Don't let us ruin it for you. But if you have seen the movie or have no intention and just want to hear what we had to say about it, please keep watching from that point. So, The Signal is a movie that I'd seen a couple of trailers for, but not really heard a whole lot about. Didn't really know what was going on in it. All I really knew was it was kind of a science fiction sort of story with Lawrence Fishburne in it. They showed some scenes of him interrogating a kid and asking him when he first heard the signal, and that's really about all they reveal in the trailer. The movie is a very well done suspense sci-fi movie. I think the first act is very, very strong. The second act is very slow, but okay, not a bad story. And then the third act has a reveal that is sort of... it's a little underwhelming just because it's one of the things that you kind of expect to happen. But it's also, I guess... satisfying in that way that it doesn't leave anything ambiguous about the story.
It gives you an answer. They give you
the answer of what you just saw. What'd you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty similar. Actually, I enjoyed it. There's definitely a lot of intrigue as it builds up. So I enjoyed that. Parts of it maybe were a little bit kind of film schooly, just in terms of how they put it together and stuff, but enjoyable nonetheless. And I didn't mind there's quite a long middle section that, like, what to me still the story was still going along.
Yeah.
And the ending, I did guess something very, very similar along those lines of what was happening, but it still was. I was glad it had an actual conclusion though.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's definitely it's tense at times as well because at moments you don't really know what's going on, but yeah, it's intriguing.
Cool. So that's the quick version. This is a suspense movie. It's got a lot of mystery in it. Don't let us ruin it for you with spoilers. If you're going to go see it, tune out. Go check it out. Otherwise, we'll get into it a little bit more. So, basically, the first act I thought was very, very good and looked great. Like it was shot really well. About the three college kids or college-age kids that are traveling, really get a lot more backstory than I'm used to getting in this kind of a movie. This could have easily been done almost like a slasher or a horror movie, and it had a really weak, basic backstory for the characters, but they really go into a lot of depth to tell you a lot about these guys.
So it's the guy and his girlfriend.
And
the girlfriend's going to California, and their friend, and they're
helping her move.
They're like hackers or something. They're very smart, going to MIT.
Yeah.
She's going to California for a year, so the boyfriend and girlfriend are going to be apart, and something's wrong with him, right? He's coming down with something, he's losing the use of his legs, and they've got, there's personal issues. That sounds boring, but in the film, it's actually kind of, it's good. You get into it.
Yeah, and the hacker angle, it doesn't make sense at first what that has to do with anything, like why they're hackers and what that has to do with the story. But they have this rivalry with this other hacker
called Nomad.
And they go to try and track the guy down. They try and figure out where the guy's living.
He's super smart, and he doesn't even know how he's hacking the computer in their own hotel room.
Yeah. And so they end up going to where they think Nomad lives, and a bunch of weird stuff happens, and he ends up knocked out, and he wakes up in this weird facility, hospital, mental hospital kind of facility. And Lawrence Fishburne is grilling him while wearing a spacesuit, hazmat thing.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the movie really drags. The whole interrogation thing where Lawrence Fishburne is asking him questions that we don't know the answers to.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not getting any new information. We're just getting, it's almost like they're voicing all the questions that we already have.
Yeah.
So I felt like that stuff got really boring and
even as
long-winded.
early on as that, it seemed, I don't know, I can't quite think of what clue they gave away, but like, and huge spoiler here, so just so you know.
Yeah.
It did seem very much like they were actually the aliens questioning the human, rather than the other way around. It was supposed to be humans, and he might be contaminated, the guy.
Yeah.
And so that's why the humans are dressed in their hazmat gear, and because the guy might be contaminated by, what do they call it, an extraterrestrial biological
an EBE entity.
or something. But even early on, I don't know what the clues are, but you just start thinking like, oh, they're actually the aliens, and he's...
Yeah, it becomes a question of, you know, is he an alien and the government's questioning him? Like, did he get infected by something? Or are they the aliens and they're trying to figure out what's going on with him? And then he discovers, you know, he's got the Lieutenant Dan magic legs.
Augmented legs
and then they try to escape, and it has like the Truman Show style ending.
Very much, yeah.
Where he bursts through a wall,
an
invisible wall, and
to realize he's
on this giant like squid spaceship thing.
Yeah.
And that's where the movie ends.
It was all a simulation.
And I love that the movie just ends like that, where it's just like, yep, you're stuck with us.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah, but like you said earlier, I'm just glad they actually didn't leave it ambiguous, because when he was running off towards the bridge thing, I thought, oh no, we're not going to get a pulling away shot now, are we? We just make our own minds up. Like, I wanted it to actually have a conclusion, and it did. It did.
Well, and even if they had just revealed that Lawrence Fishburne was an alien or a robot or whatever he was, and they hadn't revealed that they're not even on Earth anymore, like, that was the big reveal, was that all of this is happening in a simulation.
So they were lured by that nomad hacker guy, which was kind of clever because his name was what's the opposite?
Damon.
Damon, that's it.
Yeah.
Damon. He noticed the name thing. It's like that was the hacker guy. So the aliens really lured them to the IP address of this house where they would basically abduct them.
Well, and really briefly before he gets knocked out, you see the girlfriend fly up into the air.
I didn't know what that was. It happened so fast. I thought, was that an alien or something? Or
that was her. She like ragdolls up into the sky, and that must be what happened to all three of them.
Yeah,
where they all got sucked
lost
onto
consciousness and wake up in this simulation thing. Yeah, interesting.
So yeah, they're on like the holodeck basically.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Except it's the size of like Area 51 in Nevada. Like, it's hundreds of square miles of space that they take up, that they can drive around in. And
it's still cool, though, because the people we're seeing on screen don't know this, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they realize they're in Area 51.
Well, it makes you wonder, like,
or at the time they think they are.
Like, what that Magda character, like, whether she was an alien or whether she was a human.
Yeah, now
you know what I'm talking about?
That doesn't actually make sense to me now.
Like Magda from Something About Mary.
Who are those people then? Now that we look back and think like it was on the spaceship, are those? Yeah, who are those, and why did they have to kill them?
Like,
so that's what you missed. What there was one part you missed where the guy, you know, the trucker guy, caught up with him. Well, the Lawrence Fishburne visited his home and shot him. And they also killed the lady in the car. I don't know who those represent then. If they're not really human, or
but like those guys.
Maybe they are. Maybe.
When they killed him, did they show wounds or blood or anything like that?
No, just it's all implied.
Because that's the question then, is whether those were like malfunctioning robots or aliens or parts of the simulation. Like,
or humans they've abducted before, but they wouldn't accept their reality, like the Matrix kind of thing.
See, I got the impression that Magda, and I don't think they ever gave her a name in this movie, but she's like the lady with the dog, and There's Something About Mary, that has the insane tan. That actress is in this, and she's like has a screw loose.
Yeah,
like there's something
kooky.
wrong with her.
Yeah,
and I almost felt like that could have been like a poorly programmed robot or a malfunctioning robot, or it was a human that they had augmented that was rebelling against it in the way that they knew how to rebel against it.
Yep. Or as you were talking there, my other thought was maybe those were previously abducted humans, and they were supposed to just accept this Matrix-like reality they were living in, but they, to make it normal for the other humans. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, I liked. I liked that it didn't get too it did give us answers, but it didn't explain everything. We didn't get every single rule about every single thing that was going on. In the end, Lawrence Fishburne's performance made sense, but I thought he was a little bit wooden. Like, I picked up on that. But that can be attributed to, like, he's not actually a person, so...
Yeah. He's
He
the
wouldn't
alien's
act like a person.
approximation of what trying to come across as human.
Because if they wanted him to think, like, that he had been infected by an alien, like, if that was their cover story for why he was there and why they were studying him, like, they should have just come out and said that instead of...
Yeah, there was this whole thread about, like, combining human will with alien technology, right? Well,
Yes.
I guess, and the twist is, like, it was actually the aliens that were doing that, who were trying to see what it would be like to combine their technology with the
Yeah.
humans.
Well, and it also poses the question of, was Lawrence Fishburne's character a conscious entity, or was it a robot that was being controlled from the outside?
Right.
Like, was everything happening inside of the Matrix or the simulation, or whatever you want to call it? Was that all being controlled and operated? You know, similar to something like The Truman Show.
Yeah.
You know, where everybody but the main character, actors or robots
Yeah,
or
it's all
whatever you
set
want
up.
to call it, that it's all set up.
Huh.
But it's good that we're asking these kind of questions, because it leaves some of that stuff open for interpretation, and that's also good and fun in sci-fi, is to ask those kind of questions.
Yeah.
And I really liked, you know, a lot of times when they portray computer hackers in movies and TV and stuff like that, they do a really terrible job at it. And this was actually pretty good. This is kind of how, like, college kids that do hacking would act. You know?
Really
There's
excited.
a lot of shell script stuff and a lot of like TCP/IP stuff, and there's no way that a good hacker would ever be caught as easily as Nomad was caught. But then again, he
It was all
wanted to be
set up,
caught.
yeah.
He wanted to be found.
Yeah.
So anyway, any other thoughts?
Not really, except when he was running at that speed, I thought his New Balance shoes would have burned up if he was going across the bridge.
Yeah, I kept expecting
It was
something
kind of cool though. It was a cool effect.
like the bridge to collapse with, like, a sonic boom or something like
Yeah.
that he was just going that fast. But I guess he wasn't running faster than a truck, so he was still only going like 70 miles an hour or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Yeah, I wish I saw less movies, because the ending. If I was like
because you predicted the ending.
Yeah, unfortunately, for someone that's not seen as many sci-fi movies, like, the ending might be mind blowing. Like, it's a really cool reveal if you haven't saw that kind of thing before.
But you'd have to not have seen The Truman Show, The Matrix,
Yeah, there's a lot that, you know.
Planet of the Apes, for that matter. Like, the original
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes has that ending.
It's Earth.
You know, it's Earth the whole time.
Yeah.
Where this is, it's not Earth the whole time, but it's still the same.
Yeah, it just kind of flips
The
it.
same twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth a watch. If you like sci-fi, you got to watch this, because, you know, it's got, there's something in it that you'll like, you know. It's definitely, I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah. And I definitely, my favorite part of the movie is the first act. I felt like it was really strong, and it was a little bit of a letdown that the rest of it wasn't quite as strong as it, but I still enjoyed seeing it. So.
Well, that's the problem with this kind of movie. It's like, I guess it's easier to set up suspense than it is to pay it off. It's like debt, you know. It's like, okay, well, there's this and this and this. It's like, ooh, it's gonna be, but it's harder to deliver on what you've set up.
I just like that we get to know the characters before they're in the situation.
Sure, yeah.
And we really
And
got
there is
to
a
know
bit
the
of,
characters.
like, to me, and they go to lengths to set up the characters as real people. We see some memories, and it's a little bit cliched, but it's kind of like it felt kind of realish.
Yeah.
Especially with the guy and the girl, it felt like it was a real kind of. They felt like real people, I think, for a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, cool. Well, that's our review. Hope you enjoyed it. Definitely go check out The Signal if that sounds good to you. And we have all the rest of our reviews here on YouTube and over at dalemaxfield.com. So check those out, and thanks for watching.
Thanks.